And
As much chaos as we intended to bring to Anthony's first one shot, he actually kept us on our toes and kept us just busy enough to not destroy the world. So he did pretty good. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, it was somehow like the perfect amount where like the chaos and the little bit of flavor that we could add was pretty minor overall. And I think having the triple combat, he just limited our ability to fuck with the narrative, and it behooved him.
Yeah, it was definitely a fun time. I definitely, I don't know, I kind of reached out of the box, like trying to grab I wanted like a lawful character, but I wanted him to worship like an evil god. So like I was gonna be like super Boy Scouty and then do something fucked up, like kidnap somebody at the end or something. Find a lawful way to find, I don't know, indentured servitude or something. It was a good time though.
All right, so for this, I have a very, very loose outline. Originally, I was going to have it be like a one shot, low level frogs just fucking around with the townspeople in the swamp. But it just didn't really pan itself as being proper. So I figured this would be a fun way to go back since we left those frogs in really bad off spots.
Mostly Anthony's fault, for the record.
Oh, it's 100% Anthony's fault.
is Anthony the one that taught them how to use weapons or something?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I tried to give him like a brief synopsis, but if you guys want to give him your version of the events.
So Anthony's playing a real Boy Scout type elf, always trying to be friendly and super helpful. And so he thought he would teach our new friends who helped us escape how to hunt, taught one how to use a bow, and then they started killing each other. Because in Bullywug world, the weak don't survive. So it
It's
just
really
created
funny.
a whole mess. And then they would try to eat our hurt villagers that we were saving. And yeah, it was a slapstick comedy that could easily turn into a horror movie. All right. So for this story, we go back to the swamps outside of Lover's Perch. It's been about a week since these champions who came from nowhere slaughtered the god and once again disappeared. The Bullywug tribe has more or less set up almost a permanent camp about 10 miles outside the walls of this city, constantly on guard, waiting for these champions, these saviors, to return and lead them into the bright future. There's some discontent as nobody's quite sure what to do. So as we go into town, we'll start at the top of my screen with Frogbert. Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself, Frogbert?
All right. Frogbert is just I guess it's probably more than a village because there was a fuck ton of them. The herd. What do you call a group of frogs? I'm just gonna go with herd. He's like the groups or one of the groups like builders. So any of their like domiciles, whatever, like whether it's like huts or tents, or like tools. He's like the guy who fashions them together. Maybe not always well, because they're still pretty um, dumb frogs. But yeah. So he's just that. He's always got like this like a little string on like wrapped around his waist that he can like pull off and use to like measure things. Um, and like a little tiny like hammer, which is basically just like a stick like wrapped around with a rock wrapped around it that you know does to hammer stuff. He's not always like the best builder, but he figures it out. He like the guy that like it's not like OSHA up to code and everything, but it like somehow works still. Um, but yeah, that's Frogbert.
All right, so Frogger, as you're going through town, you get stopped by basically the contractor frog, because there's always a hierarchy. So your boss,
The four frog.
there you go, the frogman, foreman. He comes up to you and says, we need 2 more houses put on the West Bank."
Oh, okay, yeah, I can get started on that. Is it just me, or is anyone else helping?
"I don't fucking know yet. Just get over there and get started. When I find someone, I'll send them over."
All right, fine. So I guess he's just gonna start walking over to the the West Bank, grabbing any like long branches along the way that he might find, things that might be useful, and creating some sort of hut TP device, lean to.
Give me a roll. We'll call it material searching to see how
Material.
well you can find what you need.
Alrighty. Oh, that's a 6.
Nice. So you just find all sorts of materials. I mean, you find the perfect logs, the perfect vines, just mud that looks like it'll dry perfectly and form a wall for you.
Alright.
And so as you get over, you bring all these materials with you.
Alright, yeah, so I guess I just once I got to the West Bank, I just kind of lay out all my materials and start trying to build. I said 2 more.
All right.
So yeah, I'd go for like just, like two like one person type like lean to TP things.
All right. Give me a building check.
I shit you not, that's another 6.
I had that happen.
I don't know. I never roll that well ever.
All right. So you start building what is supposed to be a simple TP, but you just get inspired and you build what ends up being a really nice sort of looking yurt that could sit easily 5 frogs inside.
Nice. He's just gonna stand back and admire his handiwork, and probably it's because it's on the West Bank, so he's probably gonna stick his feet in the water and just kind of relax now that he's all done.
Okay. As you're sitting there, kind of soaking it up, you feel a smack to the back of your head. As you turn around, you see it's your frog, your fourth frog again. And he says, "I said build 2, you idiot."
Well, I heard you, but then I was just feeling just a little inspired, and so I made one that could fit multiple of us friendly folk. Well, not all of us friendly. He kind of smacked me pretty hard, but yeah, it'll fit. It'll fit as many as two people just in one.
Yes, but we have two families.
Oh, well, I can make another one. And
Go.
I guess I'll get back up, and then as he's walking away, give him the equivalent of the frog middle finger. I don't know how many fingers bullywugs have. Do they have 5?
I don't know. I couldn't tell from the picture if I wasn't looking.
I always pictured it as like 4. Isn't that how many toes frogs have?
They have 3 fingers and a thumb.
Yeah, that's kind of how I picture it.
That's
I'll
enough
give
for a
him
middle finger.
the equivalent of the frog middle finger as I go and do I have any like enough supplies left over to build one more uh building, or do I need to look for some more?
Give me, call it a general contractor where you're able to kind of eyeball whether you have enough materials.
All right, that was a 3.
So you think there's enough materials to get started, as there's 2 sticks and 1 vine. I mean, that should be plenty. Take an experience point on that. And give me
Yeah.
a building check.
All right, that's another 3. What the hell is going on?
So even with these few materials, you're able to make one that it's able to stand up.
All right.
So it's not a complete failure.
Just looks like shit next to the other one.
Yeah, you built the rich guy's house and then the poor guy's house.
I'm gonna kind of nod, realize the difference, and then just slowly like kind of walk away before my frogman Ford frog comes back and just try to, technically my job is done.
All right. Let's go with disappearing.
All right. Oh, that's a 2. Damn it. I'm trending downwards.
So you start walking away, kind of, backing up slowly, trying to make sure nobody hears you. And you trip over a vine and just fall flat into some mud behind you, spraying everywhere. Branches and twigs cracking, and all eyes look at you.
Yeah, clumsy me. Sorry about that, guys. Didn't mean to bother any of you. I'm just, gonna go for a walk. Job's done. We're all good here.
And you just look at the Ford Frog, and he takes a look at your 2 houses. And he looks back at you. Congratulations. Grab all your shit and you move into this crap house.
Ah, God damn it. All right, fine. I guess I can always fix it up later.
And after that, go to the temple.
Why am I going to the temple? What's there? Do I need to fix something? Build something?
Just go.
Nice. He just rumbles and walks off trying to find the temple.
And speaking of the temple, that brings us down to our next frog, the tribal shaman. Why don't you introduce us to High Priestess Gug?
High Priestess Gug is a little older, wizened by her years, a little wrinkled, has a bit more of a kind of a bend to her back that kind of like older people get. She wears dark robes, layered, kind of greens and grays, very neutral, kind of like matte colors. And then like little baubles and trinkets that she's picked up over the years, some shiny shit. Stuff that probably holds no real value in the world, but because she's a swamp creature, it's got a little flair. It's kind of layered throughout her cloaks, and she keeps a bit of a head wrap, almost like an older like gypsy woman, but of course with her giant frog face and eyes sticking out from underneath. And if you look along her waist, she's got a belt that's got a series of like shabbily made bottles and vials and things, seeming to be like alchemy components, if you will, and bones of random small creatures, kind of layered throughout the belt. She's been around for a long time, one of the older frogs, even though they don't live long, and she's kind of set herself up as the healer and kind of spiritual leader of the frog army.
So as you're sitting in the temple, you hear a frog rush in. And you look, and it seems to be one of the hunter-gatherers of the town. And they come running up to you and, High Priestess! Billy is sick! He ate a bad bug.
My child, what sort of bug did Billy eat?
Well, he thought it was a worm. But I think it was a dung beetle.
Oh, that's a rather shitty situation. We must hurry. And she picks up, like, this makeshift bag that has been woven out of swamp vines that seems to be holding a random assortment of things she's picked up in the area, and sort of hobbles toward you. Quickly, to the child.
So Billy the Frog rushes out and leads you over to, this one who's sick. You just see him crawling on the ground, rolling over. Oh yeah, yeah.
I've seen this before. I know what ails him. And she's going to set down her bag next to the writhing Billy and just rifle through it and pull out a bunch of random things and pull a couple things off her belt and begin just adding random ingredients to a pestle and mortar and grinding it up.
Give me an alchemy check.
6.
So you are used to mixing different things. You're not sure what the hell it's going to do, but you know that usually the frogs live through it. So you concoct this little potion and feed of it, and he's not getting better at the time, but he's also not getting any worse.
And she'll turn around and just say, he's in the hands of the swamp gods now. And just kind of like lays one 4-fingered frog hand on Billy's head for a second and turns around and just says, whatever will happen, will happen. Do worship. Stay on the dumbass. Should.
Is it just me, or are you cutting out pretty bad there?
Yeah, you're cutting up a little bit there, Dakota.
Weird. Let me. All right, can you guys hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. Shit, what's the last thing you heard?
It's in the hands of the swamp gods.
Yeah, what will be. And quite frankly, Billy's a dumbass and should have known better not to eat something like that. Pray that my concoction will rid him of his ailment.
Will do. Croak, Diet Croak, help me get him back to his house. And you just see one big frog and one real skinny frog walk over and just help him pick up the sick one and carry him back. And as you start heading back towards the temple, you hear an argument between one of your acolytes and a guard for the royal kingdom. What would you say is High Priestess Doug's current religious idea?
Well, with the recent falling of our great frog behemoth god and the short bout we had with our few sort of our strange pantheon, I think she essentially believes that uh, the swamp is kind of melding all of these religions together. So she's more of, I think, spiritual in the sense that, like, she believes in a swamp almost as its own kind of god. And then underneath the swamp would be the Sands of Justice and the Frog Hemoth and things like that. Sort of like these are all sub gods. If we compare it to like Greek mythology.
Okay, so as you're walking by, you hear from your acolyte, no. You have to understand. We are all one swamp. It is a vast swampness. And the swamp doesn't choose specific champions. It chooses a champion's best fit for the duty. And the guard that he's been arguing with is, no, only frogs protect frogs. Those outsiders were demons. They should not be worshipped, they should be killed. They killed our great frog.
And Priestess Gug will sort of hobble over, quietly listening, and then just raise her hands up as if to kind of like quell the argument and sort of take the stage and just say, now, it is not for us frogs to meddle in the affairs of gods. What they do to each other is their own business. We are merely here to worship the swamp that has created these gods who shine both light and darkness down upon us. But it's not us who should be meddling. Worry not.
Give me a pacifying check.
Oh shit, this dice is hot tonight. Another 6.
If it meets, it beats, right?
I believe so.
So you see the look of the guard just starting to contemplate. I don't know. I don't like it, I know that much. But I shall be guided by you. Perhaps the others will listen as well. By the way, the king is looking for you.
Did he perhaps tell you what it is he's looking for exactly?
Yes. And he just keeps staring at you.
And Would you like to divulge that information to me, my child?
He specifically said he's looking for you.
Something tells me that you're not going to be much more help, so I'll be on my way. And then she just takes her thumb and kind of like dips it in a nearby puddle of mud, and then just Simbas across the frog's forehead, and nods and walks away.
So you make your way towards the makeshift palace. And as you walk in, you see the biggest frog within the tribe. So obviously the king says, Doug, thank you for coming. We must do something about this unrest. The tribe is going to tear itself apart between those who wish to kill the new champions, those who think the town has sacrificed them and we must go avenge them, and those who think we shall continue to wait. As counsel to the gods, what do they tell you?
Well, perhaps we must consider it in a broader scale, perhaps much like the gods who serve the swamp. We should all have a voice, and I say that we bring together a council, if you will, one frog from each of these three groups, to speak on behalf of their beliefs, and perhaps we can come to some sort of agreement and intermingling. And perhaps it will go a different way, and they'll just kill each other, much like our sort of new gods just decided that the froghemoth should be no more. Perhaps it could be decided in a fight to the death, even.
Wise words. Wise words. Well, go prepare your sermon. We shall have a council afterwards, where we shall determine the proper course.
And she'll take a deep bow and just say, "It will be done."
All right, so you make your way back towards the temple, and as you are walking back, we will move down to Kermit. Would you like to introduce Kermit to the gallery?
Kermit is the hunter and gatherer for the Bullywug? What was it? Yes, the Bullywug army. I go out and collect and hunt for the food and supplies that I can find for the army. Kermit is dressed in kind of plain clothes, and he hunts with a bow and arrow. And he also wears a cloak, and that's about as much as I got for Kermit.
That's plenty. So, as you're walking, you're out with a few of the others, trying to collect food for the feast that night. Why don't you give me let's call it an identification check to see if you're able to determine what's edible and what's not.
Okay. Six.
So I think that gives you identification 1 specifically. Correct, Dakota?
Yeah, the first time that you succeed, you get level 1 of that skill, and then from there, if you succeed on subsequent skill checks with that, you can level it up.
All right. So you are able to pick out all the freshest berries and nuts and find delicious bugs. I mean, you're just on it, making the other two look stupid, basically. They're just carrying your gathering. And as you're walking, you hear a noise up ahead. And give me you hear a noise, and it seems to be coming through some bushes. And you can't quite tell what it is.
Do you want me to roll?
Nothing yet. What do you do once you hear this noise?
Oh. Well, I get very curious and been hunting for so long that it must be some kind of animal or something. So I investigated.
All right. Do you just walk through, or are you trying to sneak your way in?
I'll sneak my way in. I'll put the hood of the cloak on and try and sneak my way through. See what this is.
All right. Give me, and we'll just use it. Give me a stealth check.
A 4.
All right. So you are silent. You're able to. You're just having one of those days. So you're able to slightly move across some brush, move that branch out, and avoid making any loud noises. And as you peek over, you see 2 of those weird creatures that walk on 2 legs behind the walled fence. Humans, but you're not quite sure what that means or anything. And you know that some of your heroes look like them, and they went to go talk to them. But you also know you guys have had issues with humans in the past. How do you engage with that information?
Are bullywugs the size of frogs or the size of humans?
They're about the size of gnomes, dwarves. They're 3 to 4 feet.
Picture like
Oh, okay.
a halfling frogman type of situation. They're a little shorter, but I think they're still technically a medium sized creature. So that would put them roughly 4 feet, maybe 100, 200 pounds.
Okay. Then I'll Kermit will engage in conversation with these humans, see if they're lost or if they have anything to offer.
All right. So do you come out trying to look friendly or sort of
Yes,
intimidating? Or
I'll look friendly for the first part. Yeah.
all right, give me a, let's call it a friendly check.
A 4.
All right, so you walk out and you see them jump at first, but somehow you're able to convey to them that you don't mean any harm. And you see a little bit of tension go out of them. They're still wary, but they're not scared. And they're just staring at you slack jawed.
All right. Kermit will ask again, "Hey, what are you doing around here? I know that my appearance is not exactly normal to you guys, probably, since you're not from around these parts, but Is there a reason you're around here?
So you ask this, and you see them kind of look at each other, and then they look back at you, and all you hear is, because bullywugs do not speak common.
It seems you are either unintellectual or you speak a different language. So maybe we can take it slow. Maybe you can act out what you want to tell me.
Do you try and pantomime yourself saying this, or are you just saying it?
I'll pantomime. I'll use jazz hands for a little bit.
All right, give me a charade check. You think what you're showing them is conveying your idea, and you watch as they look at each other and look back at you, and one starts to pull a sword from his belt slowly and take an experience point.
Okay.
So you currently abandoned your two friends, or two other hunter gatherers. So you got just this bush separating you as you look at these two humans, one starting to draw a weapon, and you know that there has been violence between your peoples.
I will attempt to draw my bow in order to intimidate, but not to start a fight.
All right, give me an intimidation.
A fight?
So you are able to just whip the bow off your back, and you pull out one of your arrows, and you're just staring at the guy with the sword, and you watch him just stop as he slowly puts the sword back and puts up his hand and starts gibbering again.
So he puts it back? Okay.
Yes, your intimidation worked, so take a point in that.
Hmm. I don't know how far. Do I know how far the other bullywugs are? The one, like the two other hunters.
If they are where you left them, they're only about 10, 15 feet behind you.
In that case, then I'll attempt to slowly back away while looking at them to make sure they don't make any kind of moves,
You're
and
going to try and
attempt
sneak
to
back through the brush.
it's attempt to sneak back at least to get some reinforcements. Make sure that I got safety in numbers because three is better than two.
Call it a slinking check, because trying to move back into brush without watching where you're walking.
Four.
So as you're going, you're actually surprisingly able to find the way you came through, and those branches are just moving back out of the way. And as you get halfway through, the last branch closes, and your vision is now cut off from the two humans.
Phew, that was a close one.
As you break out through the brush, you see the other two just kind of sitting there bullshitting with each other. Just they gave up on trying to do anything.
Hey, big fuck. Hey, big fuck's over there. Big fuck's over there. We need to go back to the village and warn them.
Warn them of what?
More human, more two-legged creatures, more two-legged creatures, the ones that killed the behemoth.
Are they our gods?
No, different ones.
Why didn't you kill them? That's food. I thought you were the great hunter.
I didn't have enough ammunition, and you guys decided not to back me up.
Then you see them kind of lean over and whisper to each other. And then they look back at you. One says, all right, you go warn the others. We will keep an eye on them. Give me a eavesdropping check.
Four.
So, before he said this, as they were whispering to each other, you heard them. And they're saying, hey, if we send him back to the village scared and we kill them and bring back the meat, we'll be heroes and he'll be shamed and sacrificed to the gods. Yeah, that's a great idea. Let's do that. And then they made their recommendation.
Well, as a seasoned hunter, hold on, sorry. Kermit goes over and puts a hand on their shoulder. One of them puts a hand on that one shoulder and goes, "Well, as a seasoned hunter and gatherer, I gotta tell you, those things will definitely kill you. So why don't we all head back instead of you guys trying to be heroes and getting yourselves killed?"
Look, old man, just because you were impressed by those champions and are scared of the two-legged things does not mean we are. We saw them. They were sick and they had to be carried. They would have died if not for us. We could take on these two.
First of all, old. You're acting like I'm High Priestess Gug, that 11-year-old hag. Okay? So you know what? Y'all want to die so badly? Why don't you go ahead and see how let's see how you fare against those two giants.
Are you actually giving them permission or are you trying to punk them out?
I'll give them permission.
All right. So you see them look at each other and kind of nod as they slink off towards the bushes. And they disappear in, and then you start hearing noise from the other side. Are you
Well,
going to wait to see how it ends? Go and try and watch, or just fuck it?
as much as I would love to see these idiots get what they got coming to them, I still have a responsibility to tell the village about, or I got a responsibility to tell the army of Frog or Bullywugs about the two giant behemoths that are on their way to possibly destroy the army. So I will have to go do that instead of watch them get their asses handed to them.
So you just take off through the woods. Did you bother bringing any of your supplies back, like some of the food that you collected, or are you just leaving it all behind?
I'm gonna leave it all behind because that way I'll travel faster, get to the village quicker. Less chance of the humans catching up to me.
All right, so you get back into town, and where would you go? Would you go to like the army barracks to warn them? Do you go straight back to uh, the guild, the hunter gatherer guild, and tell basically the elder of that? Or do you just run into town and start screaming at the top of your lungs, waving your arms like Kermit the Frog?
I will absolutely do that last option. I will definitely go into the middle of town square and go, there are giant two-legged creatures coming here again, and we need to arm ourselves so that we don't get destroyed by them again. Because they're coming. They're coming this way. They already killed the other two guys that I was with.
Give me a hysteria check.
Six.
So
Oh, dude,
you
awesome.
just. I know, I love it when some of them succeed. So you just watch everybody go crazy. They're screaming and shouting, and doors are boarded up. And you see military, the army, just come charging up, and a few of the officers. All right, we need specifics. How many were there? And how well armed were they?
There were two. And by the looks of it, at least one of them had a very big sword. Bigger than two of us bullywugs, okay? And I gotta tell you, they looked absolutely crazy yoked. Like they could definitely take all of us on. I barely made it out of there alive.
Give me a storyteller check.
Six.
Damn, Avery loves you. So you watch as the eyes on the officers just go wide, and what's the equivalent of the general turns around. Quick, we must form up the battalions. We've seen what they could do, and if they are anything like those champions, we must be prepared. We need to border the gate, and we need to get our defensive positions. And you see them all just charge off in different directions to start getting the army ready. While we let that scene marinate, Sean, would you like to tell us about Sir Hopsalot?
Yeah, so I guess with Sir Hopsalot, he is just a common bullywog, but he is one in from a line of that goes back generations of cooks. They all seem to be one way or another talented in the cooking arts. So I guess I would have to throw my first. I would have to ask Chris first. So I imagine as a cook bullywug in this camp of or village or town of hundreds of bullywugs that we would potentially have perhaps scavenged or come upon like an adventurer's campsite, maybe not recently or maybe even generations ago. But I would assume that as a camp cook, I have potentially some sort of cooking utensil that could be utilized over a campfire, maybe like a cauldron for soup or like a large like skillet like frying pan. Would you say I have some sort of item like that, or a check to maybe produce one?
I would say you have stuff like that or the equivalent. Maybe a knife broke, so you got a really sharp rock, or you don't quite have a bowl, but you have this sturdy skull cap that you've been able to fashion into like a bowl. But you basically have the equivalent of all the normal kitchen cooking utensils.
Okay, good. So, yeah, this Sir Hopsalot, coming from a line of cooks, essentially is just kind of going commando bullywog. He's got a small apron acquired from who knows where, potentially patchwork, from various critters and things that he's captured and skinned over time. And yeah, he's got a bit of a pot belly as the cook for several individuals around, but he, for the most part, just kind of tries to keep to himself. And I imagine with all of the chaos kind of erupting around him, and his only calling at this point being meal preparation, he's probably just kind of looking around, maybe trying to find some ingredients. We'll say he's got like a large flat stone in the middle of a decent sized campfire, and the stone is very hot and ready to be utilized as like a cooking resource. So he's kind of like looking around for maybe to scavenge a few resources if possible.
Yeah, I'd say at this point in the story, these are all events kind of happening simultaneously. So the town's not yet in panic. It's just a normal average day for you.
Okay, excellent. In that case, Sir Hopslot would kind of, wake and stretch his muscles as he's not an elderly frog, but he's like a middle-aged plus frog. He's looking, somewhere in frog equivalent years, between 40 and 50 somewhere. But with his pot belly and his cook's apron, he kind of waddles out to the fire, or where his fire pit would be, and starts a fire to prepare the hot rock for breakfast preparations for the at least several immediate locals.
All right, so you're going through your ingredient or your items to figure out what meal you're prepping.
Yeah, I figure kind of prep like a breakfast meal. See like what ingredients or items I procured, or something of
Right.
along those lines.
Give me we'll call it an inspiration check to see as you're looking at your ingredients if you could come up with a good meal.
That'll be a 6.
Okay, who licked Avery's clit to get these kind of fucking rolls?
Me and Dakota's brother made a deal with the devil for a bunch of 6s.
I'd say. All right, so yeah, you look and you see different parts. So oh, we got Stu's leg over there when he died yesterday. You know what? To some of that and with some of that mushroom, and if I get a little berry, I can make a wonderful stew with it. And you're just completely ready to go with your entire menu.
Like as I say that, I'm like adding shit to the like hot stone in the center of the fire, and waiting for a bit of the sizzle, as hopefully to greet and feed some locals in my community for in trade for their skill sets and protection, as I am an old frog.
All right, give me a cooking check.
All right, I'm gonna call Avery fucks me really good on this one. Ah, I fucking called it. That'll be a 1.
So, see, you're not quite sure. You know all the ingredients are good. You know what you're doing, but you just create charred, and maybe that leg wasn't Stu's from yesterday. Maybe it was Hopper's from a week ago. And that berry, you thought it was a blackberry, but instead it's a blueberry, but instead it's actually some poisonous berry. And your food, you look down and I mean, it's up to you whether you serve it, but you're sure as hell going to go for a fasting today.
Well, as I look down at my horrible food, I think, as bullywugs do, only the strong survive, and I absolutely serve the food. If they want better quality food, they should bring me better quality ingredients. Enough said.
So, do you see? I guess since it is originally your village, would they have like just one general dining hall? Is it kind of a pagoda style or food trucks service?
I imagine, it's probably DM's choice, but I imagine the Bullywugs as a community probably is a tight knit community of family units. So I would assume that it is more like most of the houses in the town or village are actually personal domiciles. Only a few would be dedicated to, religious or military purposes.
So yeah, there's one large dining hall, and you start wheeling this food out, and you see there's quite a few families there, just sitting down and ready to start eating, including little Susie Frog. You know, just yesterday a tadpole, now she's starting to hop along. And you go and you start serving the food, putting the plates in front of them. Do you try to hype it up, or are you just gonna let their eyes do the hyping for you?
I think I'm not gonna hype it up, but I think I would try to at least offer it to like maybe like passerby, like people kind of getting ready to go about their day. I wouldn't necessarily like set up shop to try to sell it or something, and I wouldn't necessarily like let like if I have any like immediate close kin, I'm not gonna let them eat from this batch. I'll kind of like slap their hands away, and be like, no, you wait for the next one. But I think I will just kind of quietly and solemnly offer what is available. Once again, strength of the bullywugs. If they can't identify this poor food as poor quality food, then that's kind of sort of on them. Could be no food. I'm still offering a service. I'm a valuable citizen.
All right. I will come up with something for that. I just need 5 minutes to tuck the kids in.
Excellent. So yeah, I'm trying to make a case for why I'm an essential employee, even though I'm not a hunter gatherer, a builder, or particularly religiously inclined. So it's like, you know, I'm working on some things. Like I'm trying not to get eaten. I'm the cook.
You're killing it. I'm proud of you. I mean, they're frogs, right? Their taste buds can't be like they probably don't really care that much. They eat bugs.
What if frog taste buds make bugs taste delicious?
That's some research I think we have to do.
Okay, so hypothetical. While Chris is tucking the kiddos in, so do you think that you would eat something like taboo if it was just like delicious? Like, if it turned out like tomorrow, you yourself somehow found out that like sewer rats are actually fucking absolutely could be considered a delicacy. They are, 100% delicious. Would you consider consuming sewer rats at that point?
I would have to eat it prepared. Like I
Yeah,
wouldn't want to
clean.
see it cooked. You'd have to be like, I made this out of rat. But it'd have to look like an actual regular, complete, normal meal.
Yeah.
I would never. Yeah, I wouldn't. It had to be sterilized. It had to be. You had to make sure it was clean enough and then prepared well enough that I don't know it's rat before I'm like, yeah. Then I would actually, in real life, I would try rat if it was prepared the same well as like any other animal that I eat.
Yeah, it's kind of like eating catfish. Like they're bottom feeders. They live on the bottom. They eat shit. But fuck if they're not good when they're
Yeah,
prepared
catfish
right.
is so good.
Blackening seasoning, dude, so good.
Ugh.
Old Bay. Now I'm hungry.
Yeah,
Not
a
for a
little
rat,
blackened
but you know.
seasoning, beer batter. Oh,
So it's weird. So what if it was like something more like up in my neck of the woods? They do this shit all the time. The Rocky Mountain Oyster Festival. What if cow testicles are the most delicious meat you have ever put into your mouth?
I'm not eating anyone's testicles.
yeah. I've
I don't
actually
care
thought
how
about
good
that
people
a
say it
lot
is.
because I've seen that shit pop up. Like, there's actually a brewery that makes a Rocky Mountain Oyster beer. They did it as an April Fool's joke. They didn't make the beer; they just did the marketing for it. But then people actually showed up for the fake release, and so they ended up making one. And I was like, I wonder if I would ever try something like that. And I can't like something. It's not that it's a testicle. It just seems like it wouldn't be a good piece of meat to eat. Like I don't get the appeal of it.
I was actually talking to our grandfather, Dakota, and he's because he would have to eat every part of the animal growing up because he was poor. He had pigs, you know.
Pig balls.
Yep.
I don't doubt that. I mean, this is a man who used to carry around. All right, so for reference, if you guys didn't know, raccoon penises are actual bones.
Yeah, weird. I did know that, but only because I live in Idaho and we're fucking weird over here.
But like, our grandfather used to have a keychain that was a raccoon penis that he would carry around when he was tailgating because that's what he used to stir his drinks with.
the bone, not the cock, just the bone.
Yeah, like he just had the bone and it was bleached and sterilized, but he was literally carrying around and stirring his drinks with a raccoon penis.
What if your grandpa lives to be like 10,000, bro? That's a good deal.
I mean, he's in his late 70s and the dude's built like a brick shit house, so who knows? Maybe there is something to it.
He's gonna outlive you guys because he's just like so healthy. He lives to like 215 or some shit.
Because he eats pig testicles and stirs drinks with raccoon penises.
Yeah, nobody does that anymore. You know, like
That's
back
the
before the Bible, they
blood.
used to live like 900 years on pig testicles and raccoon boners. I might have made all that shit up. I don't know.
That sounds right.
I think the weirdest shit I ever tried was probably beef liver.
I feel like liver's not that weird. I feel like
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like I thought I would at this point in my life I would have at least tried weirder shit.
Yeah, liver's not terrible. Like it's pretty common, especially like fried chicken livers are actually like pretty solid. They're just like it's irony. Like I think the weirdest thing I've eaten is the chicken hearts. And chicken hearts are I mean they taste like dark meat chicken, but like it has an irony kind of metallic twinge to it. But these were jerk marinated with fried pineapple and it was pretty fucking solid.
First of all, chicken hearts are delicious. I don't know. I grew up down south in Florida, dude. I ate all kinds of weird shit, dude. I've eaten snakes and alligator and just everything I could, any kind of creature you could catch in a swamp. Lizards, fucking squirrel, dude. Like, I lived with around some interesting folks while I was in high school and shit. But I think one of the more I don't know. It looks sinister. It looks like it belongs in a scientist's laboratory. But a pickled turkey gizzard is an intimidating looking piece of meat.
That sounds
Why would you
fucking
eat
repulsive.
the gizzard?
First of all, it is
It's
a
like
weird looking piece of
chewing on a
meat,
ball sack.
but it's pickled, so it's different. But I tell you what,
I feel like
it took
I would
me
rather-
it took me a dozen beers to man up and try it, and then I tried it and I was like, God damn, I see why you fucking eat this, because it was like the weird guy from work when I lived in like North Dakota. I think he was like half Canadian, so he's extra weird. But you know,
His gizzard
I
just,
talked to this
like, what is
guy,
it? Like,
or this guy brought a jar of pickled turkey gizzards over. And when I say a jar, I don't mean like a reasonable sized jar. I mean like a fucking 2-gallon jar of these fucking pickled turkey gizzards. And they look like a fucking science experiment. It's like, dude, they're intimidating to look at. But goddamn, I tell you what, after a little liquid courage, I pounded a couple of those, and I probably bought, I don't know, 30 pounds of pickled turkey gizzards over the period of like a year while I was in North Dakota. Like, those fuckers are good.
I dropped a photo of them in chat. Like just the appearance of that makes me want to gag.
Bro, they are weird. They are weird looking, huh? They are weird, like for sure. But dude, I promise, super delicious. Especially after a couple of like heavy beers, it's like the perfect counterbalance. You have to have some bravery because they look weird as fuck.
It looks like something you'd find on like oh god, I don't
I
even
feel like
know.
without
Like
that
some kind of
label, it would
fucked
be
up
on the
embalming
sort of-
table.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, if without the label, it would be on the top shelf of a fucking dungeon you'd see in a goddamn Friday the 13th movie. Like,
Yeah.
I don't find this appealing enough to even try it. Ugh, that's so.
Okay, so apparently, 'cause I know like where the turkey gizzard is, but I just like obviously you see them, but it's I didn't know what it was for until now. It's a muscular like pouch essentially, because turkeys and like chickens and stuff like they don't have teeth, so they basically they don't chew their food. So instead, these birds swallow little pebbles and grit to store in their gizzards. When they eat, the food is forced through the muscular gizzard, which contracts and squeezes, grinding up the food with the pebbles. So you're like eating like a mussel.
Yeah, they eat rocks and shit because they don't have teeth, and they store these rocks in their neck, and they use the rocks like we do teeth. They use that muscle to like
Good.
smoosh their food, and that's
Yeah.
what you're eating, and it's super
Fucking
tasty.
wild.
A lot of birds up in the mountains do that. Like um, every once in a while, I try to go hunting for some grouse because it's basically like mountain chicken. Yeah, it's a wild chicken.
Mountain chicken, yeah.
It's a wild chicken that lives in the forest in the mountains up here. You know, we go shoot them down every once in a while, and yeah, it's fucking. They do the same shit. Like a lot of birds do that for whatever reason. At least in my neck of the woods. We don't have a lot of like ocean birds and shit here though. We got like bald eagles are the only ones comparable to coastal birds around these parts.
Yeah.
Well, wasn't it like dinosaurs used to do that shit too, though? Have rocks in their stomach to help crush up and pulverize the food.
That sounds about right. I'm not quite sure. I bet like the herbivores and shit did.
Yeah, I think I remember like Triceratops was the one in one of my books.
What's the wildest feature you didn't know this animal? Didn't know an animal had. Like the craziest one for me, it was I didn't know geese had razors on their fucking tongue.
Geese are terrifying. Fuck geese. They're
I
assholes.
fucking hate geese. They're fucking. Ugh, I hate geese.
Cobra chickens.
Cobra chickens, yes.
What
They're
are cobra
shitheads.
chickens?
Geese.
Oh, yeah.
Because they're mean like cobras.
Though I will say the best episode of Letterkenny is hands down a fuss at the golf course when they're trying to save the geese and stop the golf course from oiling the
got a-
eggs.
If you got a problem with Canadian geese, you got a problem with me.
They're oh,
I advise you let
God.
that one marinate.
Speaking of Letterkenny,
Canada's geese.
like a week back, 2 weeks back, I got to see Trevor Wilson perform. And
What
if you're
Dan,
wondering who
right?
that is,
I'm
Squirrely
pretty
Dan.
sure.
Yeah,
Oh,
he's
okay,
fucking
that makes more
great.
sense.
I've seen his stand up on. I think he's on a couple things on Netflix, and he's hilarious.
Yeah, it was fucking fantastic, and only $25 a ticket. All right. Before my kids start interrupting me, you're kind of serving this food. You're not pushing it on anybody. If they take it and eat it, that's on them. It's just currently what you're offering. They could go cook their own damn food.
If they have a
As
high
you
enough
walk,
constitution, they'll be all right.
as you're walking down doing this, you see a courier from the palace come in and just come up straight towards you. Sir Hopsalot,
Yes. I look at him with my eyes like narrowing.
there's to be a council this evening about the course of action, and the king wishes to have a feast prepared. He's already sent out hunter-gatherers to come back with foods, but we wish to have a grand feast. Are you prepared to follow the king's orders?
Absolutely. I pull like a stick or maybe a vine out of my pocket that is, I've specifically measured to be like a foot or so, and I start measuring the messenger.
What do you think you are doing?
As the king asked, of course. How much do you think you weigh?
Bah. And he looks down at your plate that you've been serving in. Well, reaches down, picks one up, says, I shall present your current meal to the king, and we shall see how excited he shall be for your feast. And he turns to begin walking away.
I kill him. I pick up the hot rock out of the fire and I bash him over the head with it.
Let's start with a tolerance check to see how well you handle picking up a hot rock.
3.
Now give me a striking check. We'll call it.
4.
There, you pick up this rock and you just bash him over the back of the head in full view of everybody.
Perfect. I then carefully, even though it might be like sizzling my fingers a bit, place the rock gingerly back in the center of the fire where I had it before. And then I grab this unfortunate fellow by the leg and drag him to my campsite and begin preparing him for the king's feast.
All right. I am going to roll a d2. On a 1, the other frogs don't give a shit. On a 2, somebody's going to report you to the king's guard. So as you smash this courier in the back of the head, he goes stumbling down. You look up and you see about 3 frogs jump up and start heading towards the door screaming.
Cowards! I give them the middle finger as presented thusly, and continue about my business.
So you're barely back to your station when in bust 3 King's Guard. Hold it. What is the meaning of this?
He told me to prepare a feast. The hunters and the gatherers are not back yet, and, well, he's plump. And so, what would you have me do? Defy our king? He will make excellent protein.
He is the king's personal page because he is the king's nephew.
And don't you think someone like the king's nephew, who has been pampered in the community, will not taste absolutely delicious as the king himself deserves?
Give me let's call it what it is, a bullshitting check.
5? Question mark.
So you say all this and the King's Guards kind of start to look at each other. Oh, well, that makes sense. Normally, the murder would be, at least frowned upon. But he is a soft, plump frog.
It is not murder. It is harvesting at the request of our king. I suggest that if we have a problem, maybe we can all go to the king and see how merciful he will be when you tell him he deserves subpar food.
Give me an intimidation.
4?
The night guard takes his spear and he places the blade under your neck at your throat. Says, "Do not push your luck. You are not that essential. The king is busy with other ideas, and I agree that this weakling would be a future disgrace, and are willing to look the other way. But you check yourself when you speak with me. You lowly want to be cook."
At this point, a large puddle of urine has accumulated around Sir Hopsalot's feet.
So take an experience point. I think that's only the third one I've had to give out today. And the Knights Guards turn and they leave the tent.
I exhale after holding my breath for some time.
And so you say you begin to butcher the frog.
Yes, I'll take particular care to prepare the individual parts, as he should be a luscious specimen.
Give me a butchering check.
That'll be a 1.
Your hand is just shaking from that encounter, and you're making slices and cuts, and sometimes it's the frog, sometimes it's you, and you just mangle this body. Take an experience point.
Excellent.
After butchering this butcher job, pun intended, you start to hear screaming and shouting coming from outside your tent. And you're hearing just devastation, like when people found out the behemoth frog was killed.
So as I kind of hear the devastation and whatnot, I think back to my station as kind of like a support or we'll call it like maybe try to be as helpful as I can to those who are a bit more physical than me in the tribe. Keep them wanting me around. So I think maybe I would, if things were getting dire and there was like rumor of potentially war or injury, aside from preparing this flesh, this frog flesh upon this hot stone, I would perhaps use like as an old metal, rusted out kind of metal cap, or some sort of a makeshift bowl of sorts, and I would try to maybe like boil up some like herbs or like onions or just something that I think would either like bolster some constitution, or perhaps maybe help with like blood loss or something. Anything I was capable of doing like medically for the community. Being a cook, I would try to do what I could.
All right, give me an herbalist check to see if you can figure out what ingredients would work and which ones probably won't.
That'll be a 1.
You know exactly what'll help. All right, I'll grab some lemon because that'll help squeeze out the poison. A salt because salt preserves, so it'll preserve the body. What else? Oh, you're not quite sure what this is, but it's got mold on it, and sometimes moldy things help people feel better, so that's got to work too. And you throw it all in a sack, and you charge outside, and you see townspeople and soldiers, townspeople running towards their huts, and soldiers running towards the wall.
I carefully take all of these ingredients and combine them in a bowl with like a bit of water, and I let them brew fireside as it kind of brews not the healing prospects that I intended, but perhaps a potent poison. I'm not sure.
All right. So as you're preparing that, we'll cut back over to Frogbert. Frogbert, you're nearing the temple. You get up there and you have one of the acolytes come up and say, "Oh, yes, Mr. Frogbert, thank you for coming. We are to have a council here, and we need the interior to fit the accommodation. We're to have it divided into 3 areas, and so we need to make sure there's enough seats for all members to be present. But we also need a ring built in case it comes to the death."
Oh, okay. So yeah, this is getting serious. So you guys need like some like chairs. You want some like some separation for different rooms, and then just a crazy old rain in case you guys got to start killing each other.
Well, I would say some pews that can be slightly shifted. There's only a couple hundred of us that would be present, so I think just about another 50 pews, I would say. And yes, a death pit.
Okay, all right, 50 pews. And how long until this meeting exactly?
It's supposed to be after the sermon, and the sermon begins in 1 frog hour. So I'd say you have 55 frog minutes.
Alrighty. Do you have supplies for me, like some wood, some sticks, maybe some vines or rope of some sort?
That would be at your guild, Master Builder.
Right. That is my job. Okay. Um, yeah, I can go get some stuff and whip some other stuff up. I can probably do that.
Good. Be on your way. And he just turns and walks away.
I'm gonna start internally panicking. So I have to build 50 pews and a death pit in less than an hour.
Give me an overwhelming check.
Oh god, that's a 1. That makes sense.
You just feel yourself shut down. Anybody who's has anxiety or ADD understands what it's like to know you have a certain time frame and it's just way too much to actually get started.
Yeah, so I think he'd probably take like 5 minutes of just sitting in a corner on the ground with like his knees to his chest, panicking. Um, and then he'd get up, I guess, and run back to like I'm assuming like the builders have like a sort of uh
Lumberyard type or
yeah,
their own personal Menards.
yeah. So he'd like just book it as fast as he could over there and just start grabbing shit. I guess do a material search to try and just
Yep.
find like the best planks of wood or basically just like or if like any stones like so
Yep.
like you could like put some planks on stones instead of well no because they need to be movable. Yeah, just try and find the best planks of wood and
Yeah, give me the material inventory search, whatever.
God, this dice did me well. Come on, buddy. That's a fucking 2.
You grab, oh, I know I can just make it really long, and that could cover a lot of seats. So you grab just 2 small stumps and the thinnest bark. It's long, but it's not going to hold much weight. And yeah, that'll be good. Vines. I need vines to tie it all down, and you grab wilting vines that are already starting to break and come apart. And yeah, that'll be good. And so you gather all these pieces and you drag them back to the temple. And even though you're panicked, you look rushed, and another frog comes up and you recognize him as Toady. And, what the hell's got you all bothered?
Don't have a lot of time to talk, but I gotta build a whole shit ton of chairs and a goddamn wrestling pit in like, I think I got like 30 minutes now. Something like that.
Well, why the hell do you wait so long?
Existential crisis.
Do you want help?
Yes. Help would be greatly appreciated.
Give me let's call it a begging check to see
Yeah.
if you could give enough puppy dog
She would
eyes.
be begging at this point. Well, that's not bad. That's a 4.
Neat. All right. Give me those goddamn tadpole eyes.
All right, so I'm also gonna use my 1 XP and put that into building.
Okay.
Cut that out, so I now have building 2. Yeah, so like I'll like lead him up to the temple and kind of like tell him my basic plan of just like, okay, I feel like it might be easier to, instead of building a bunch of short benches, just build one really long bench. And then maybe for like the fighting pit, instead of like having walls, we can make it like a chain match. Like, I'll just stick some poles in the ground in a circle and then just wrap vines around so it looks like some sort of like a, you know, maybe they can like bounce off the vines and like, clothesline a guy or something. Make it more fun. I feel like it'd be more fun that way than just like a sturdy wall.
You have a good idea, but your material is shit.
Oh yeah, I kind of panicked a bit and just started grabbing shit. I wasn't really looking.
So you see as he goes outside just to the very next building and just starts tearing it apart to grab materials and brings it upstairs and, oh, we'll fix that later. That's less important. And give me a building check.
All right. I don't know why I didn't think to just start taking other buildings apart. All right, so that is a 7 total.
You're good at conceptualizing. And sometimes you do a really good job. I mean, that big house definitely proved you have skill. This bench is more like the second house.
I don't do well with time constraints. That
And
is
you
Alex
get it
speaking
all.
and the frog.
Same. So you get them all built. You get what looks like it's supposed to pass for the octagon ring, but basically it's one vine way up top and one way at the bottom, complete space in between. The benches are uneven and feel like they're going to fall if it just one heavy frog sits on it. But you got it done in time.
Nice. Could I maybe like try and see if like do another roll to see if I can maybe find a couple more stumps to just like shove underneath the bench periodically, so like maybe to provide it a little more support?
Sure, give me another
Material.
material investigation for immediate area.
That's another 4.
So yeah, you go outside and you look at the house. You're like, yeah, fuck it, it's destroyed anyway. You start taking some of the foundation from it, and you're able to secure the benches a little bit better.
Yeah, so he just kind of like least frogs. Do frogs sweat? I don't know. I should have looked up more about frogs. But he wipes off the proverbial sweat off his brow, and then goes to find the guy he was talking to before,
The acolyte.
the acolyte. Because hey, so didn't give me a lot of time here, so it's not really my best work. If you had given me like a more advanced notice, I could have made this look, like some filigree on the bench. Um, Maybe put some nice little totem heads on each of the pillars for my octagon here, which I took a little creative artistic freedom there, made them ropes because I feel like it'd be fun to like bounce off the divines and stuff. Um, It'll totally hold. Don't worry about it. But yeah, so here you go. And I'm just gonna like gesture out to the shit show that I've made.
I understand. And don't worry, we will communicate to the king how dissatisfied you are with the timing he gave you.
Oh no, you don't have to do that. That's fine. Don't worry about I'll tell him myself. I don't want you to have to do that. So you why don't you go sit down on the bench and don't worry about talking to the king for ever again if you don't have to.
So, as this slight panicking is building up in you, you start to hear screams coming from outside the temple.
Um, I think at this point, Frogbert would be more uncomfortable in the situation he's currently in than the potential situation of screams outside. So he'd probably just be like, "Oh, I'm gonna go, check on that, make sure everyone's okay. I'll see you later," and just
As
walk
you
out.
as you come out of the temple, you see villagers running, trying to get to their homes. You see the guards just rushing towards the walls, taking defensive positions. You see a hunter gatherer in town square, just Kermit the Frog arms going up in the air, screaming. You see a cook just mixing ingredients and I don't know, making dinner, juice.
Skinning a fellow frog.
That's not too, out of the norm.
It's not.
Okay, yeah, I guess I probably wouldn't want to get in the way of the guards, and I feel like the flailing arm man would probably catch my attention, and so I'd probably just hop on over to him. Be like, hey, Kermit, right? What the fuck is going on? Kermit, are you too stunned in silence?
Sorry, where are we?
You're
I was getting a drink. I'm sorry.
No, you're good. Um, you were panicking, doing your Kermit the Frog arms, and I saw you, and I was just like, hey, like, what the fuck is going on out here?
Frogbert, you'll never guess what the hell happened.
Uh, did you see a dragon?
Worse. These guys, two more of the things that killed the behemoth, the frog behemoth.
Oh, the
I
champions?
barely made it out alive.
Oh, they tried to kill you. That's not good.
Yeah, I'm pretty 99% sure they killed the other two guys that I went out there with.
Huh. Yeah, yeah, that's not good. Okay. Um, do you know what the Sir Hopsalot is doing? Mr. Cook over there. Is he making juice? He's skinning a frog? Another one of us? What's Sir Hopsalot? Excuse me, sir.
Yes, what can I do for you?
Do you have any snacks? I tend to get a little snacky when I panic.
Yes, and I pick up the bowl of boiling. I attempted to make it like something that was good for the soldiers, but with a 1, I imagine it's something more akin to a poison. And I hand it a bowl full of boiling, mysterious liquid to Frogbird.
I think he just shoot it back.
Oh, it's actually scalding hot. Okay, alright, well, I'm going back to skinning this nephew of the king. He looks delicious, does he not?
Frogbert or Kermit stares at Frogbert and goes, "I would not have fucking done that."
Well,
Yeah, it tastes like shit.
Sir Hopsalot, roll me a D100, and let's say 21 through 25, it's poisonous. 25 through 75, it'll make him sick. And the last 25, it's just fine.
Alright, I'm gonna roll a D100, and I'm gonna call either just fine or super poisonous. Let's see what a good douche! Fucking 5.
No.
You shoot this bad, it's not going down. And it's not stopping getting hot. And it's hurting the hell out of your stomach. And you begin to throw up.
Oh god, like in
Just
between. Oh, sorry.
violently ill.
Yeah, in between spews of vomit, I'm just gonna yell, where's the high priestess, Gug? Where's Gug? Help!" And
And on a
it's
5, roll me a D100, and there is a 20% chance you die.
I was like, who? Fucking me? Because I'll hit that. I'll hit 19 right now. No, I'm just kidding.
Alright, so I mean you're still very sick, but
I'm alive.
you're not on death's doorstep yet.
Can Sir Hops a lot kind of like maybe since Frogbert is kind of like a builder, can I inspect like what is there like a garb that he has that identifies him as a builder, or maybe he's got like a belt with some tools in it or something?
I'd say he has kind of a carpenter belt.
Yeah, I did say like I had like he carried around like this long like twine that he used for like measuring things, like a primitive measuring tape. And then I mentioned him having like a primitive hammer. Uh, So I would at least have that.
If you'd be able to identify him.
Okay, so quick question. Experience points. I can use that to give me like a bump in a skill, correct?
Yes.
Okay, I would like to use one of my 2 experience points to bump my inspiration from 1 to 2, and then I would like to turn to Kermit and tell him, "Hey, well, I need some good goods for the king's feast, and since you're a hunter-gatherer and you don't have much on you, you could also be a hunter-gatherer builder." And I point to Frogbert's belt, and I say, "And I could bring an even bigger feast. Think about that." I would like to try to inspire Frogbert or Kermit to help me butcher Frogbert.
I'm just like in the corner, like vomiting my guts out.
Let's go inspiration to see how well you crafted this idea. So why don't you each roll 2d6? So Kermit, he says this to you, and it's jumbled and a little shaky, and you realize, being a gatherer, that you sometimes have poisonous vegetables and fruits, and when an animal eats it and dies from that poison, they are poisoned. So if you eat the animal, you'll probably be poisoned indirectly. So if he tells you, hey, we could just cut this guy up and use him for the feast, you, in your head, you're saying, but then you poison every frog here. And do with that information what you would like.
Uh, but Sir Hopsalot, that would just be doing. That would just finish off the entire army. That would just help the humans out tremendously. The humans that are on their way here to kill us all. Didn't you hear me ranting and raving earlier?
I didn't think about this. Well, I think then maybe we don't. He's weak. Look at him, man. Looks delicious. We could just. One good smack. You look strong. You're a hunter gatherer, yes? You could do this. Do it. Or not, I guess, But, I guess. You say there's humans out there? I knew there was a ruckus, but I didn't know exactly. I was trying to help people, and I was not done cooking, and he fucking drank of the thing that I was not done with. He's very stupid. Are you sure we should not eat this one?
Actually, you gave me an idea, Sir Hopsalot.
That is because I
What
am
if-
great. I am full of great ideas. I throw my arm around Kermit. What is this great idea? Tell us how we are geniuses.
How about I do carve up Mr. Frogbert here, but instead of feeding him to the army, we can somehow trick the humans into eating our poisoned friend here.
Wait a minute, man. I hear humans are fucking delicious. Maybe we should eat the humans. Maybe we take this fucking sick, sad guy, we put him on a plate with some herbs and spices, and he smells and tastes good, and we catch the humans and eat them. Yeah.
Do I hear any of this?
Yeah, you're vomiting at my feet as I kind of
Fucking
kick
hope
you
so.
around.
Give me an attention check to see how well you can focus on what they're saying.
That's a 6.
Oh yeah. You're sick, but you're hearing a lot about your death.
Can I try and call out, like, hobble away and try and call out for High Priestess Gug again? Start screaming.
Give me a begging check to see if you can beg to somebody walking by.
Oh, wait, did I get the... I got that before, right? I forgot to write it down.
Yeah, you have a 1 in it, officially.
Alright. That's a 1.
You are sitting and you're calling out. Look, trying your damnedest, but there's just so much going on right now. Nobody's stopping.
I feel like the second fucking Frogbert opens his mouth to scream, Sir Hopsalot stuffs a big ass apple right in the middle of that sumbitch.
I feel like my projectile vomit would just shoot it back out.
Kermit, I'm telling you, you're a hunter-gatherer. If we are not going to eat him for the better of the tribe, we should at least, burn him or something. He's going to infect us. Look at this thing.
Alright, Sir Hopsalot, give me a stuffing check. And Frogbert, give me a throwing up check. Whichever one is higher is what happens.
Projectile
Roll
pressure
this one in the chat. Aha!
So he goes to shove this apple in your mouth, and you puke so hard it shoots the apple right out of his hand.
I turned to Kermit. That was my last fucking apple, man. God damn.
Can I don't know, make some sort of uh, like look around to see if I can see High Priestess Gug anywhere? It's-
Well, before we do that, roll me
I-
a D100, and it's now a 33% chance of death.
I love how you're
Or
just
D100.
begging for me to show up, and so much is happening that it's just like, no, there's a pretty solid chance you're gonna die.
we have one fucking healer. Where is she? Oh,
All right, so you're able. Give me a oh, let's go with the throw. Give me the throw up check, and we'll see how well you're able to control it to where you can get out a yell.
all right.
A yell up instead of a. Okay, I don't know.
6.
So yeah, you feel more getting ready to come out, and you're able to push it down and get a yell out of Doug. I need Doug.
Kermit, I mean, he's screaming for the priestess. I mean, help us out. We could. I mean, look at how much frog jerky that is. I mean, come on, dude. Come on.
And we will pause this scene here. And move over to High Priestess Gug.
Who I imagine at this point has probably found the 3 faction leaders that she has basically optioned to fight to the death in order to determine our new pantheon of gods.
Yeah, you go to the you go back to the temple and you tell your acolyte, get a builder, handle the pew and everything else, and then you leave, go find captain of the guard, who is the head of the attack the humans. You find one of the nobles who's into the just no human should be a leader or one of our gods, only a frog should. And then you find one of the more poorer class leaders who's pretty much the voice of the let us wait with patience. And you get them all 3 relatively in the same spot.
As you all are aware, we are clearly deciding the fate of our dear army, and it is of the discretion of the king and I, as his spiritual confidant, that we decide that fate in the same way that the fate of our former god, the Froghemoth, was decided in a battle to the death. You may bring any weapons you like. You may not choose a champion on your behalf, for it must be you, the leader of your cause. And it will be done in front of our whole army, so that they may see the verdict given by the swamp. And she kind of like gestures out, and she had like maybe a little bit of some sort of like kind of dust in her hands, and as she does so, she kind of like throws it and adds like an illusion effect to her words.
Give me an illusionist check.
All right, I've got 2 6s in a row on this die, so I'm bound to fuck it up now. Yeah, that's a 2.
It's okay, I rolled a 1.
No shit. All right, illusion is 1.
So you are able to do this, and they're all mystified, just. And they all look at each other. You see the captain guard start to smile. And the poor man gets a frightened look as they realize that only one of the three knows how to fight, and there's going to be a bloodbath.
I shall give each of you 30 minutes to prepare, at which time you will meet in the center of our tribe's land. I expect great things from all of you. Bring any weapons and armor you like, but as stated before, you must fight for your cause. Solely you. To the death, of course. And then she kind of womp, and then waddles off, presumably in the direction of the commotion, because I can't imagine our tribe is terribly big.
No, as you're walking back to the temple, you all of a sudden start hearing screaming and yelling every which way, and you stop a guard. What's going on? He says, "Oh, we're going to be under attack by the humans. We'll need your healing powers, and go this way." And as you go charging off, you hear a groggly voice just yelling out, "Gug! Gug!" And you looked over and you see Frogbert crawling away from Sir Hopsalot Flame. Sir Hopsalot has this killing look in his eye, and Frogbert's just vomit all over his face and foam coming out of his mouth.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Did nobody tell him? Is it the same thing that got Billy? For fuck's sake, I'm running out of materials here. And she runs over, or waddles over, and kind of settles down and sits cross-legged in front of you. And starts reaching in her pouch and like trying to assemble kind of a mixture. And she like puts it in a bottle, spits in it, and then just starts shaking it up real quick. And then she lays one hand on your forehead and kind of tilts it back, and she just says, "Now, my child, be healed by the swamp." And she just pours this weird mixture into your mouth.
Give me an alchemy check.
I was gonna say that's how all this shit started.
All right, switch and die.
How about double AIDS, Alec? Ha!
4.
So you just start grabbing stuff, and you're not, you don't even know what he said from. You assume it was a dung beetle, but you use some of your ingredients, so you grab some others, and one thing is just like the other. Surely they'll both work. And you pour down a poisonous concoction.
Oh, no.
Frogbert, why don't you give me a let's go with a let's do a throw up check to see if you swallow this poison down or if you spit it back out because you're just gagging so hard. You're at 2d6 now, right?
For vomit? Oh yeah, I am. That's an 8.
So once again, you just get lucky. Like you're thinking, "Oh God, I'm going to feel so much better with this." And the second it hits your throat, the taste just sets off a chain reaction, and you just spit it all back out over Gug.
Oh god. I'm sorry.
I cannot heal you if you do not let me. And she just tries to pour the remaining contents of the bottle down your throat still.
You get so again.
You just narrate a re-poisoning? That's vicious. I love it.
I mean,
give me another
she's got to be
vomit check.
committed. She has to show confidence, or everybody will know that she's just making this shit up as she goes.
Give me another vomit check there. Oh, there you go. Oh God.
Could I use my pacify skill to try to like, I guess like hold him down?
It doesn't matter. He rolled double once.
Oh shit.
it goes down your throat there, Robert. And you start to feel tingly. Surely this medicine must be working. Roll me a D100 and you're at 50% chance.
And in
Wait,
this
high or
moment,
low?
the
High or
priestess
low?
Gug,
Which is what? 50-50.
If he beats 50, he survives.
priestess Gug in this moment lays her hand on his forehead and just says, "Be healed by the swamp, my child."
Frogbert lives.
Robert won't die. So
I feel like at this point, fucking Sir Hopsalot hands Kermit like a couple of silver coins from up underneath his like cook's apron. He's like, "You're right. He didn't die."
So Frog, you feel that tingling all over, and then it starts to get hot, and you don't know what's going on. You want to tear your stomach apart. You want to rip off your skin. In fact, you start scratching at your skin against the ground and just cutting your arms and legs up. And
Yeah, he's
the
just
rest of you see this.
full fever dream right now. Just oh my god, it is so. High Priestess Gug, don't let me die.
"I'm here for you, my child. Do not worry. I've got just the thing." And then she starts mixing up something else.
God,
Give me another alchemy check.
And as she's like grinding this stuff together, she's like, "This time I won't spit in it. Perhaps there was something that disagreed with you." But and then she's like sitting there shaking it up almost like a fancy bartender, like just like shaking a cocktail shaker. She's like, "Now we've stopped whatever it was ailing you, but now we must replenish your strength." And then she lays a hand on it, and you see her eyes roll back in her head. She just says, "Great swamp, heal our brother," and then force feeds you again.
oh god,
That's a 3 on
oh my
alchemy.
god.
Oh, I thought you'd get it with since I only rolled a 5, but nope. More poison.
Jesus Christ.
I was just hoping it might have a different effect this time. It's kind of random.
Give me a violent reaction check.
A 4.
So, once again, she makes a new potion trying to get down, but you're in so much agony that more of it is falling on the ground than even gets in your mouth.
Okay. Yeah, he's still just like, I don't know, like scratching at his arms and his like body's stomach, and then just like full on just hyperventilating fever dream type shit. High Priestess Gug is starting to look like, I don't know, a giant beetle.
So, as this is all going on, it suddenly quiets down. And then you hear some yelling, can't quite pick out what's being said. And a couple moments pass. And during that time, Frogbert, why don't you give me a D100? You're now at 66%.
Can I, Sir Hopsalot, kind of determine like what is actually currently destroying Frogwort? Like, is he like getting eaten up by acid, or is this poison like? Basically, I'm trying to gauge like if he dies in this way,
am I going to be able to salvage this meat here? Because it seems pretty off. I mean, I might just have to make him a garnish instead. But you know, I need to be able to gauge that.
Give me let's call it a logic check.
4?
Meets a beat. You assume that when you drink medicine made for the outside the body, probably isn't good for inside the body. That's why it's different medicine. So him being foolish and drinking medicine, well, the one god seemed to care about the health of the other, so maybe he pissed off that champion god. And this is punishment from the gods for such an act. And so you cannot eat such a defiler.
I turned to Kermit and see, he's a heathen. He should be worshiping the other gods.
So after a few moments, Frogbird's somehow hanging on. You see the commander of the army comes rushing up, and he has a pissed off look on his face. And he locks eyes with you, Kermit. And he says, "You follow me." You want to follow orders?
Yep.
So
Alright.
you follow him, and it comes towards the gate, which is standing open. And you see something that doesn't register with your brain because it has to be impossible. You see the two hunter frogs dragging the carcass of two humans.
No fucking way.
Give me a logic check.
Six.
As you're thinking about it, you realize that you scared the one human into putting his weapon away. So when they went through, they were expecting the humans. The humans were not expecting them. They made no move for their weapons, still frightened of you, which probably gave them a very easy kill. And as you rushed off, as the commotion happened and not waiting to see how it ended, you assume they died because very rarely do the frogs come out unless they're in large numbers, and 2-on-2 is not really in your favor. Yet here they are. And you look at the captain, and he just says, "Explain."
Sir, I know exactly what happened. And I can tell you that those frogs, those bullywugs, are not of our tribe. They're the humans in disguise, and we have to kill them right now, or else they're going to infiltrate the army.
Oh. Give me, I think this is going to be a first time. Give me a bullshit check with disadvantage.
How do I do disadvantage?
Just roll it twice. Lower
Oh.
number.
So like that?
Yeah, that loses, so it doesn't need to lose by more. You can look at this captain and you know he's not buying anything you're selling. You. Did you try to set up your friends? And then lie to us? To hide your guilt? And one of the other frogs that was with you says, "No, he's just a pussy. Said we couldn't take him. Said there was too many. We told him that they were nothing. They didn't even put up a fight."
Then I'll tell you what happened. They dramatically decreased in numbers because before I left those humans, before I left those humans to warn you guys about about them, there were dozens of them.
You told us there was two. But you also told us they were big and powerful and strong and holding huge weapons, as the champions were. But these are merely their farmers.
Am I close
Okay.
enough to hear this?
Give me a attention check
Okay.
as you're still dying.
That's a 6.
How in the fuck does the guy who's about to die know everyone's secrets in this shit? It's like Game of Thrones. It's fucked up.
Do I level up because I rolled a 6? Is that a thing, or am I making that up?
No, well, it was a 1d6, right? Or was it a 2d6?
I was at a 1d6 for attention. I had one
Then
skill.
yes. Then yes, you
Okay, so next
bump
time
it up.
I roll a 2. Okay, cool. All right.
Dying every
Yes,
almost
you're
dying
able
every
to
4
hear
seconds.
all this.
Can I? Frogbert doesn't like people talking bad about his friend. So can I walk over, like stumble over to the guy who called him a pussy and vomit on him?
Give me a stamina check to see if you're able to put yourself under that much power.
It's a 5.
And I rolled a 6.
God damn it.
Roll me a D100, and you're now at a 75% chance of death.
Oh no.
Oh. So you stand up, and you take a step, and a second step, and you're gurgling, and you collapse.
Guys, Frogbert just croaked. Do you get it?
He was waiting for that one.
Yeah, he just keels over dead.
Does Kermit see him dying?
Give me an attention check to see how focused you are. If you beat my roll, then you're too focused on. Nope, you have no attention span, so take it as a level up, and you notice Frogbird dying, which does piss off the captain because you're no longer looking at him.
Oh my god. Frogbert, no. Guys, help. We need to help Frogbert. Oh no, it might be too late.
The priestess just says, "My children, it may not be too late. for sometimes the swamp gods do smile upon the fallen. And she walks over and she's going to attempt, I think, you tell me how you want me to do this, Chris. It could be alchemy or illusionist, or it could be something different, but I would like to attempt to resurrect him. Since he's so, like, he basically is, I assume, asphyxiated or something. So
Let's go with. Go with medicine.
Okay.
Because it would be more like you might figure out to pump his stomach, get all
Yeah,
the
or like
crap
an
out.
herb that acts as an anti-venom or something.
And so I would say that, and if you succeed, you'd roll a D100, and we'd put it at a 50% chance he comes back.
All right, fair enough. Medicine check, that's going to be a 5.
It beats. So,
All right, so medicine 1.
1 through 45, he's dead.
All right.
46 through 100 is you bring him back to life. Unfortunately, the poison was just too much in his system.
I run up as I see like the priestess try to like do some like ceremonial healing, and I'm like, no, don't do that. It looks like the king has demanded some great feast, and this decaying carcass will be an excellent garnish on the tray. Please, priestess, let me take this body from you.
It would be irresponsible of me not to give back to the swamp, and as we are the people of the swamp, it is only fair that you take our fallen brother as tribute for the king himself. Prepare the body so that the king may feast upon it during the ensuing trials, which I assume are about to happen.
I turn to Kermit and I point to the body of Frogbert, and I'm like, "This is your fault. You did not act, and now look what happened. Now you have to carry this back to my shop so I can cook it."
Excuse me? How is that? He points at Frogbird. My fault.
I told you to kill him right off of the bat, man, and you did not. Now he crawled all the way over here, and he's still pukey and gross and died anyways. Your fault, dude. Help me out. I'm old man. I need you to carry this fat frog with me. Come on.
Reluctantly, Kermit agrees, trying to get out of the situation with the army captain. While
Wait,
mumbling,
how did this frog die?
He was taken by an ailment from the swamp, presumably. All he had to eat today was soup, I'm told. I tried to administer one of my antitoxins, but he was too far gone. So I tried again, and he was still too far gone. So I attempted to resurrect him, but the swamp did not smile upon him today.
Whose soup was it?
I do not know, for I was not the one to prepare it. I simply prepared the antitoxins that did not save poor Frogbert.
Do you? And he looks over to you, Kermit, and says, "Do you know whose soup he ate?"
Kermit looks at the demolished corpse of Frogbird, looks back at Sir Hopsalot, who just told him to do some bullshit labor, and thinks, you know what? This might come out in my favor. And so he tells him, you know what? Probably Sir Hopsalot, the chef of the army.
Guards, take Kermit in custody and Sir Hopsalot.
What do you mean, Sir Hapsalat? I am a humble cook. I don't know nothing about this guy. I never even seen this guy in my life. I kicked dirt at Kermit.
Come, we have much to discuss. The sermon is off. I just had a wonderful idea.
Wait a minute, you know that the king is expecting me to cook some things, and if it doesn't get cooked, then maybe his royal family was like maybe sacrificed a little bit, and he's gonna be kind of pissed that you didn't let me put like barbecue sauce on the top, and he's not gonna like it, man. You better help me out.
He just does not listen to you at all and marches off.
I bitch about savory hickory honey barbecue sauce the whole way to the dungeon.
So an interesting event happens. You guys are in the dungeon for a bit, no idea what's going on. And it comes time for the meeting. And the captain steps up and says, "It is the will and pleasure of our Lord, as well as by the gods spoken through the high priestess, that there be a trial by combat to determine our next steps. We have drawn lots. For we have 2," and he smiles, "volunteers. I shall not partake in this combat. Instead, it shall be Kermit fighting in my stead. And for the other faction, Wilbur got lucky, and instead Sir Hopsalot shall fight on his behalf. The nobleman, Sir Slappy III, shall defend himself." So, gentlemen, if you shall join us in the ring. And Sir Hopsalot and Kermit, you're shoved in, given small daggers. And Sir Slappy III, how would you be dressed and prepared entering into this combat?
So he walks in very like, chin up, like head held high, kind of like strutting, um, as he just dips into the ring. He's got like a makeshift cloak that he probably took out, like found on like some dead adventurer or something, but it's just like all tattered and like holes in it. But um, you know, in a place of loincloths and leathers and stuff like this, it looks like kind of nice. He just comes in with the cloak on, um, with like a stick that he's like fashioned into like had carved into like a cane. So he just kind of like walks in with his cane, looking all just high and mighty, and just hello everyone. As you all know, I'm Sir Slabby the Third. Some quite well known. I'm sure you've all heard my name before. But I've come here to defend my honor in these fighting pits. So, shall we begin?
I have also came here to defend Sir Slappy the Third's honor. I turn my blade on Kermit.
So yeah, would you let me like allow me to have instead of like one of the daggers, just like I guess essentially like a quarterstaff, like cane, like gentleman's cane fighting.
Oh, you see, the difference is you were allowed to go home and prepare however you wanted. So
Oh
you
yeah.
came in with whatever weapons you want. They were prisoners and were just given prisoner weapons because the captain wants them to die.
Yeah, Sir Slappy the Third is a very cocky individual. So he thinks he's the shit with his like cane fencing style. So he's just like in with his cloak and like his very nice like carved um wooden staff type cane thing. So he's just kind of like puts up a pose like like a fencing pose and like has it out in front of him and is just like standing like looking between the two of Sir Hopslot and Kermit.
As the three of them sort of get into place in the ring, if you'll allow it, I'd like to use my illusionist skill to like strategically place some torches, get some weird kind of creepy intense lighting going, like really play up this spiritual trial. And then I would also, if you're cool with this, I would like to mix up 3 potions, each one different. I'll give you 3 separate rolls behind the screen so that we don't know what happens with the potions, and I'll give 1 potion to each of them should they decide to ingest, potentially getting a boon or a bane going into this fight, if that makes sense.
All right, give me an illusionist roll.
That's going to be a 4.
That's still a 1d6, right?
Yeah.
You make a very beautiful ambiance, very final boss of the movie type of feel.
Excellent. And so I'll mark them potion A, B, and C. I'll send you my rolls, and we'll say, should you decide to ingest them, Brian, take potion A. Alec, take potion B, and Sean, take potion C.
All right, and that's 2d6 for the alchemy, correct?
Yes, alchemy check will be 2d6 on each of those, and I'll shoot you my rolls here in a second.
All right. And we'll just leave it at 2d6 for all 3, and if you get a double 6, that'll count towards the next time you use it.
Word. And yeah, so the priestess, with all this intense lighting, she stands before the tribe in the center of the arena, mixing these potions in front. And she says, "May the swamp bless the victor who is meant to prevail, for they will lead us into the next spiritual revolution." And she passes one of the potions to each of you and does the mud Simba forehead swipe and just says, "Swamp be with you," as she kind of like bows with her fingers steepled and then makes her way to stand beside the king.
Can Sir Hopsalot pull like I don't know what you want to call this, Chris. I want Sir Hopsalot to pull off what I call a slick move, I guess. I want to inform Sir Happy, like as this kind of happens with High Priestess Gug. I want to inform Sir Happy, like, yeah, what she said. You need to kill that guy. And as I point to Kermit, I want to kind of like step behind Sir Slappy and kind of like whisper to Sir Kermit, like, just mouth it rather than whisper, just so he could see, and mouth the words like, "I'm not with him," and kind of try my best to pit one against the other.
All right, let's go with give me a bullshit check against Kermit and against Sir Slappy, and you each give me a bullshit detector roll. So you have to beat a 5 to pick up that he's playing you.
Feels like an important role, so I'm going to put this in the chat too. 1d6. Fuck.
You both believe him. He is on your side.
I will support your way to the throne, master. Just say the word.
You are quite honorable, and I will take your assistance, as well as our esteemed high priestess. He's gonna. Can I take a sniff of the potion? Like, I'm gonna like pretend like I'm going to take it right away, but I'm just gonna like take a sniff to see how it smells, to see if I can. Does it appear to be toxic? Sir Slappy might be a little bit smarter than Frogbert. Just a little
Give
bit.
me an let's call it an appealing check to see if it's appealing to you if you lose.
That's a 4.
It smells good.
All right. So yeah, he'll be like, all right, and he'll down the potion. Uh, and
Which one was yours?
I think I was B, right?
Yes.
Oh yeah. So he's just gonna while he Sir Hopsalot, he believes that he's on his side. He's still gonna think a little, you know, strategically, and he's gonna move a little to the left. So like put a little, maybe like 5-ish feet, 5 to 10 feet between him and Sir Hopsalot, and just kind of like be focused on Kermit now. Just like his cane held up in front of him, his free hand behind his back in that like obnoxious fencing pose as he's kind of like circling Kermit.
Anything else from Sir Hopsalot or Kermit?
Yes. Kermit is very, very cocky, thinking Hopsalot is on his side. So he looks at Hopsalot and tries to motion to get Hopsalot behind Slappy to see if to try and get Hopsalot to ambush Slappy.
All right, so you're trying to like convey to him that hey, we should flank Slappy and charge him at the same time.
Yeah.
Give me a charade check. And Sir Hopsalot, how about you give me a logic check?
I rolled a 3.
So, Sir Hopsalot, you're able to understand what he's trying to convey to you.
So, if I can do it stealthily, I believe Sir Slappy said he was quite focused on his enemy, and though I am only a few steps behind him, I'll kind of nod to Kermit as I pull a frying pan from beneath my cook's apron.
Give me a luck check that they didn't take the frying pan.
Fuck. No frying pan. Maybe a spoon?
Yeah, I would say a spoon I would think was no big deal, but a frying pan when they did a pat down, you told them it was a support spoon.
You have no idea what I had to do to keep this spoon.
So, Kermit or Sir Hopsalot, do you trust your elixirs?
Absolutely fucking traumatized by what happened to Frogbert. I do not trust shit.
Understandable.
The priestess turns to the king and says, "It's interesting that in a situation like this, he would not take the blessing of the swamp. Perhaps we make note of this as we move forward in our spiritual journey."
What about you, Sir Hopsalot?
So what does this potion look like? Are we talking like a glowing, bubbling liquid, or like what am I looking at here? What kind of container is it in? Describe this potion that's been handed to me.
It's probably in a frosted like old ass bottle she found somewhere, just a remnant potion bottle left from like a human at some point. And I would assume the liquid inside is probably like a grayish brown, like murky substance.
As most of your potions are.
Yeah, they all kind of look the same.
Okay, what I want to do is convince both Kermit and Sir Slappy that I'm speaking to them, and I will be like, "Oh shit, catch!" and I will throw my potion up in the air. But if there is a way to maybe, I don't know, uncork it or something to where like maybe if it isn't caught directly, it splashes upon them anyway. You know, I'm not sure what the contents of the vial are, or if it's like in a breakable receptacle. But yeah, I would like to toss the potion between the two of them and see if I can't bait them into like a jump situation.
All right, give me a instigation check.
Would you consider inspiration?
That's because it's a 2d6.
Correct.
Sure, why not? So the bottle comes flying, it hits the ground, and Kermit and Sir Slappy, you think the other one is charging. How would you respond to somebody attacking you?
Oh boy. I think Sir Slappy would like hear him say catch and like take a step towards the potion to try and catch it, but then like see that it looks like Kermit is charging me as well. So I think he would kind of like stop and then just like once Kermit got within range, just try and like thwack him on the head with the cane.
All right, so you go and you thwack Kermit. Kermit, do you fight back?
Kermit uses his hunting prowess to evade the attack.
So you're just going to try and play the dodge. What do you do as you see them starting to battle, Sir Hopsalot?
Honestly, Sir Hopsalot, I imagine, is probably an opportunist at this point in his elderly frog years. So he would probably either wait to see who looked like they were more likely to be victorious before helping, or he would try to kind of make his way along the outer rim of like the arena so that he could at least be within shouting distance of High Priestess Gug. And I would try to convey to High Priestess Gug that there has been some mistake. I am actually the cook, the warrior meant to step in, went to the restroom, and they put me in. There is food on the line. The king has requested, please allow me to do my duty. Seasoning of the meat and the turning of the vegetables. It must be done.
All right, so before that response, let's get a roll off between Kermit and Sir Slappy the Third. So, Sir Slappy, you chugged what you believe to be a potion, an elixir or something to give you a boost. Oh, don't roll yes, Sir Slappy. You feel the tingling go down your arms, down your body, down through your legs, and you start to feel a little bit warm inside. And oh yeah, that is a good potion. Roll a d8.
Hey. Alright. Yay, Doug. Oh, shit.
So Kermit goes to move out of the way. But you were prepared for this. You were training. And you notice the move. And you are able to whip out your rapier while still bringing down the cane and catch him at the end of his roll, slaying poor Kermit. And you look up and you see Sir Hopsalot talking to High Priestess Gug. High Priestess, how would you have responded to Sir Hopsalot? There, Dakota?
I'm sorry, I missed that last bit.
You had Sir Hopsalot come up and start making a case. That's why he needed to be let out. How would you have responded as you watch Sir Slappy the Third put a very quick end to Kermit?
She would just lean down and just say, now, my child. As stated before, this is a fight to the death, and it decides the entire spiritual fate of our tribe. So I think you'll understand the importance of either your death or the death of your opponent. So I suggest you stop being such a little bitch and get back out there.
Sir Hopsalot sighs, looks to the ground, looks back at his opponent, Sir Slappy the Third. And I call out to Sir Slappy. She said eggs. We're supposed to eat eggs. I guess there's a couple of that guy. We're gonna eat together, me and you, yeah?
Actually, I believe this is a fight to the death, and while I appreciated your assistance before, you are now the only thing that stands between me and living.
I mean, I can move, you know. I could just, like, step to the side, and then you could just go, you know.
Same thing. Sean, drops a lot. You roll a d6, or Slappy, you get a d8 because the potion's still kicking.
All right. What skill am I rolling here?
Just a straight d6. It's just a roll off.
Son of a bitch.
Also, son of a bitch, but woohoo!
So, Sir Slappy, you were so confident. That was so easy. How killing a frog's not hard, and the cook's no better. So you charge after Sir Hopsalot, and you trip over Kermit's body. And as you fall down, you actually knock out the legs from Sir Hopsalot. But upon falling upon you and breaking a leg, accidentally digs his dagger into the back of your skull.
Jesus Christ.
I scream and wail in pain. Ah! He fucking got me! I am done for! As I roll around on the arena floor.
And so it's decided that as Sir Hopsalot was representative for the poor faction, which was we continue to sit here and wait and see, that is the decision. And thus ends a day with the Bullywugs of Lover's Perch.
I might have drank too much wine for this session, fellas, but that was pretty fun.
No, I loved Sir Hops a lot.
That was no, that was pretty great. I really liked to see the progression there. It started out, so mild, so innocent, and ended in a trial to the death.
You fucking killed me when you said, well, I can just step out of the way. I don't know why, but that fucking got me.
So I flipped a coin on frogs or humans, and the frogs won the flip. And then potion A and potion C were both poison.
Oh shit.
Oh,
I really wanted to use Potion C as like a splash weapon. That was like my intent. I was thinking of like, I don't know, I was just gonna roll like a 1d2 and hit one of them with this, like not that either needed it really, I guess.
Okay,
You
that's
could have
all
like pinned somebody to the ground and just force fed it to them in front of everybody.
Yeah.
Go to
I am
sleep,
the
go to
cook
sleep.
and I said drink your medicine, you motherfucker.
Dude, your Spanish, like Senor Hopsalot accent, just kept reminding me of the fucking Bioshock vending machine. The ammo.
I love how you like
Fire
started out
bullet.
with, like a regular accent, then you like slowly shifted to Spanish, and then by the end, I think you were at like French.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like I
it
said,
definitely had
I got a
multitudes.
whole bottle of wine in there, fellas. I was if we had a little longer, I was gonna throw in Australian or some Dutch, maybe, I don't know.
The lean
And
into
Hopside
it
is a
was
well
just what
traveled
killed me
frog.
the entire time.
Oh, that was
Dude,
fantastic.
Yeah, that was fun. Chris, good concept. That was so surprising. I had honestly, like, it was in the back of my mind. I just hadn't thought about it in a while, and when you dropped that, I was like, oh my god, yes, please. That was one of my favorite sections of the campaign, when the Bullywugs end up coming back and saving us with the fire giants.
Oh
I love
yeah,
that
and the
idea.
lore and like I don't know your perspective of what like the Bullywugs were like thinking and doing afterwards, like after the party had left, after the Sands of Justice had moved on, or whatever. Like, dude, that was like spot on and everything I could have hoped for and more in like the story I was trying to build. Like, dude, you're like, yeah, that was you did that very well.
well, I just had the idea because, like I said, it's like, all right, well, what would have happened? We just armed and taught Bullywugs to kill people. So what would happen with that? And like I had mentioned, the Goblin one shot where you play a very low level Goblin just running amok, and since the Bullywug session ended up turning into a comedy with all that, it's like I bet that would be hilarious.
And I like the fact that like Kermit kind of even without knowing like it kind of fell into like one of Logos's disciples
Yeah.
and also eventually was murdered.
Kermit, that is now canon. Kermit is the first bullywog that Logus taught how to use a bow and arrow.
Yeah.
I had all the way up to attacking the village, like possibility, depending on how late it was going and everything else, and how quickly you guys rushed.
Oh,
But then all the player on player violence.
Well,
I
I
can
mean,
honestly
if
say,
go
sorry,
ahead.
I can honestly say it took such a turn. I didn't expect it. I thought that the humans were gonna like raid the village or some shit, and so that's why I was like, "You gotta get everybody to fortify the army and shit." And then it turned into, oh no, they just killed the fucking humans, and now I just look like a lunatic, and now I'm in a trial by for combat. I'm like, oh fuck.
Frog bat.
It kind of worked out though, because like the Bullywug tribe, in at least campaign wise, was only recently introduced to like weapons of war. So
God, that was I truly had to be one of the best segments, and so funny to watch. Like him attempt to train them, and he'll like point, and the bullywug will pick up the bow, and then just kill another bullywug, and be like, "Yeah, I did good.
I
Thumbs
did
up."
that right?
Well, I had things with like the healing and be like, well, no, they were just taking them back to their town so that they could kill them right before they eat them. They don't want to have to carry rotting bodies.
Yes, yeah. Yeah, with the villagers that we saved. Oh god. That was funny. That was
Watching
peak.
what was his name? Frogbird. Watching Frogbird have to use all of his rolls for like 10 turns just to live.
Stay alive.
You did stay alive a surprisingly long time. I was hoping that second potion was gonna like actually work and save you, and then when it didn't, I was like, "Well, this is just it was meant to be. He's got to die."
I mean, I was shocked by how long, like, he just stuck around. I was like, you know what? He stuck around this long. I could try and throw up on the guy that called Kermit a pussy. It's like, I'll just vomit on him. And then I croaked.
yeah, I don't know what it was. It was like pick on Alec Day. We're like, I mean, I guess we're just kind of like, you know, tribalistic cannibal frogs. Like, and as soon as Alec got poisoned, we're like, fuck that guy, right? And everybody's like, yeah.
He's dead, right?
Hey man, we got a taste for blood. Often do we ever get to like PvP or kill each other, so we weren't gonna miss that chance.
Like 3 times I tried to make delicious food and I made poison or some shit.
Yeah, you were semi-involved in that.
I
in
could
the murder
you
of
could have
Robert.
inverted my like cook situation with assassin, and it would have been pretty similar. Like I was just kind of passing out death meals to everybody.
Your first meal was just going to be, it's ruined food. It's burnt and tastes like shit. But then when you were making like the elixir with the herbs, it's like, okay, well, you rolled horrible, so you grab salt, which will irritate. Lemon, that's going to irritate. So instead, when you pour it on somebody's wound, it's going to just hurt them.
What do you mean you don't like my
drank
salt
it.
and lemon tea, you son of a bitch?
You fucking bitch.
And then when he drank it, it's like, okay, I'll make this a very low percentage chance of it killing him.
And then I rolled.
And, a 5 out of 100.
Yeah, what the fuck was
That was
that?
crazy, dude.
It's like,
I gotta go.
He's dying.
I'll see you guys later.
Alright, see you.
Night, buddy. Yeah, I'm gonna head to bed too, guys. I gotta get up fucking 5.
Me too, yeah.
That was fun,
It's
Chris.
been fun. Chris, you fucking killed it, man. That was hilarious.
That was
Thank
a
you.
lot of fun. That was amazing. Nice job.
Yeah, man. Thanks, dude. It was pretty awesome. Keep in touch, dudes. We'll do this again soon. Hopefully, Anthony's wee ones come into the world all happy and healthy, and he could play in a week or two.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Fair warning. I think I might have to try to shift days next week. In-laws are coming in on Wednesday because Katrina's graduating on Friday.
Oh, nice.
So I'm not sure if they're staying with us Wednesday night. If they aren't, I'm probably fine to play Wednesday, and if they are, I might try to see if you guys are down to shift like Monday.
Gotcha.
Yep, just find out and let us know.
Yeah, man.
All right.
Keep 'em
Yeah, I'll
posted.
hit you guys up in chat.
Alright, catch you guys later.
All right, dudes. Take it easy. See you next week.